Chet Udell, and I'm going to show you how to use the Optron Mini App. So you'll start by plugging a USB cable into the port of your Optron Mini, and then the other end of that cable is going to plug into your computer, and you should see a purple light that turns on this processor, and green light on this blue board here, which is your motion sensor. Next thing you'd like to do when you look at the screen is to click this button that says Query Ports. And you should see something along the lines of USB modem if you're using a Mac. If you're using a PC, it'll say COM with some kind of number. So go ahead and select that one. And if you have several of those COM ports, feel free to just repeat these 3 steps over and over till you find one that works. You start seeing the proper looking data generated down here. Third step is to click that box, and if you've selected the correct thing, this data should be percolating away. So intro to the sensors is you have your line potentiometer here, which is your fretboard. So if I slide my finger across this, you'll see a corresponding position in the data between 0 point and 1 point. The FSR is a force sensitive resistor, which is this gray button down here. If you press that, you'll notice that the magnitude of your pressing corresponds to 0 point and 1 point value there. Then you have AX, Y, and Z, and GX, Y, and Z. And imagine you're on an airplane, you have your wings going side to side like that. That's your x-axis. Your y-axis is if the nose of the airplane is going up and down, and the z-axis goes straight down, and that's your yaw as well. And so notice how you take your Optron and you wiggle it this way, and you can see the wiggles in the gyroscope here. And notice how the gyroscope data reads 0 or close to it when you're not wiggling, and then it shows you the magnitude and direction of your movement. So while you're moving, you see data. While you're not moving, you don't see data. The accelerometer is going to give you the position, the static position. So think of the accelerometer great for measuring static position, and the gyroscope's great for measuring dynamic changes. Okay. The y-axis is the nose, and so if you take your Optron and you do up and down like this, you'll see corresponding up and down values that way. And likewise, the difference between the accelerometer and the gyroscope, so that static versus dynamic measurement. And then the Z, we have a G-force. We have, really this ought to be inverted. Maybe I'll fix this in a future version. We should have 1G, 0G, and then negative 1G. So I'll go ahead and fix that later, but it's measuring it just fine. And the gyroscope yaw is this way. Okay. And then I'll draw your attention to the scale degree numbers here. The things on the top are the things that are happening in real time. The things on the bottom are locked in when you press your FSR button. And so I will show you that. So if you imagine there are frets on a guitar, this gives you a color and a number corresponding to those frets. Okay, and so you can divide this linear strip up into a number of segments, which we can use to control like different notes, like you might as a recorder or a fret board on a guitar, positions on a slide trombone. All right, and then you can change the number of frets here. So maybe we want 5 frets. This will give you frets 0 through 4 for 5 total. 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All right, or if you wanted, I don't know, 50 frets, which would just be insane, you can have lots of them. Now, the trade-off is that the more frets you have, the closer your zones are going to be, so it's going to be harder to hit your target intended fret if you have a lot of them. So I think 12 is a really good place to start if you're just learning, so you can begin to practice finger positions. And then the colors are actually corresponding to steps in a scale that repeat every 8 tones, just like you have in a scale. So red, yellow, green, darker green, blue, dark blue, pink, red. Okay, so that's my bad singing. And then you're back to the top of the scale and continues repeating. So these colors are going to be great for matching up for musical exercises that are going to happen with the Optron here. Now, if you hold down a fret and then you press the button, then you'll notice that we've locked in this pitch. And so this kind of gives you your real-time feedback as far as where's my finger at, and then a press will commit it to actually play that tone, or you can use this to commit to play that tone. Okay? And this little thingy here will blink whenever you've made a press. Now, wouldn't it be neat if you could, the Optron itself could just show you the color, so you wouldn't have to stare at this thing while you're looking at your music? So we went ahead and did that. So scale sets Optron HSV color, stands for hue, saturation, and volume. And notice that as I'm sliding my finger along, the Optron is going to mimic that color. And so now I can, not even pay attention to the screen, go over here and have some real-time feedback about where my finger is at on the instrument and be playing along with color-coded music. Then if you're interested in setting keep going, toggle this rainbow effect. It's just a little demo thing showing you that your lights work and they're pretty. Number of LEDs is how many LEDs are in your Optron Mini. You want to keep this set at 45 because you would know if you added more or took some out. 45 is what they come with. And then MIDI out is a way to get your Optron to talk with other musical programs on your computer or other MIDI devices if you happen to have some musical hardware at home. And then Open Sound Control output as well, for those of you who are familiar with using Open Sound Control as a way to get data from one thing to another. All right. I will go into more in depth into these features in a different video. Thank you very much, and I will have other videos for other exercises.